Hey guys, what's up? It's Finch here. Today we're going to be discussing the SSOU February tiering survey. So that's right, this is what the survey said. These are the conclusions the player base came to about the metagame, and this is ultimately what led to the ban of both Cinderace and Magirna in the SSOU metagame. So for those curious about what everyone said, what the tournament players and ladder players said, or just what people in general said, this is the video to come to. So that's right. Get your popcorn ready, drop what you're doing, finish your homework, write your text message saying goodbye to everyone that you're talking to. Pay the hell attention right now if you're interested in SSOU. Alright, first off, how much did players enjoy the metagame? We got responses from over 1,700 people, of which I encourage every single one of them, by the way, to post in the meta discussion thread, in the OU subforum. Share your thoughts everywhere. I'll be reading it all, so will other people in the moderation team, council, etc. I just love great, fun discussion of SSU. I think it's really one of the best parts of the hobby of competitive Pokemon, in all honesty. The community and the community discussion. So yeah. But with that said, let's discuss how much people enjoyed the metagame. This is a chart here of all of the responses. I'm hoping it shows. Yeah, it shows pretty nicely. Okay, cool. So how much on a scale of 1 to 10? We saw a lot of people responded with 7, with 8 being the next most common. Of course, 1 being 10 being you know. So we had about 200, maybe 300 people fall in the 1 to 4 range of the 1,700, which isn't many. As you know, we're talking south of 15%, south of 20%. But then a lot of people fell in the 6 through 8 range, which means slightly favorable to quite favorable. So they definitely enjoyed the metagame, which is definitely a departure from prior states of the metagame. The DLC 1 metagame definitely was unfavorable at points. It had some highs, but definitely some lows during the later stages when we had a lot of bulky stuff like talk specs running all over the place and stall teams. But now we don't see that anymore. Now we see a lot more cool offensive strategies and definitely ways to abuse those bulky teams. I think that's super nice. I think that's a fun part of the metagame. But as an extension of this, let's go. Oh, actually, I forgot to read the results first. So, yeah, the average actually was a 6.63 out of 1. But I also want to note that means that the average player thinks that the metagame is like basically a 7 out of 10, which, in my opinion, is a huge shift in perception from latest generations. So we've been doing the right things. I think we're definitely headed in the right direction, both as a community and in terms of tiering, so it's cool. But then of people who played a lot in tournaments and played a lot in a higher portion of the ladder, they gave it a 6.943 out of 10. So yeah, it's basically within the margin of error, considering that's only 53 people compared to 1714. So yeah, definitely not a huge gap there. So yeah, overall it's like between 6.5 and 7 is how people are feeling. So as an extension of this question, though, how are people feeling the metagame is competitively speaking? Do you find it competitive? Does the better player win more often than not? Of which the response is to similar. We see a similar curve there, but we're noticing instead of 253 and 6, we see 285. Instead of 139 and 5, we're seeing 195. Instead of it kind of evens up. But really, we're seeing the vast majority of people falling between 5 and 8 now. All of a sudden. So now it's kind of like including 5 in that range. It's a bit lower. Suddenly 7 is a bit less popular. Only 25.9% instead of 29.2%, and so on and so forth. So you notice it's a bit less. And it's funny because actually the large majority of people still gave it, a favorable ranking. They put it at 6.67, which was basically the same number as November. So they're saying that the metagame is about as competitive as before, which I actually disagree with. I think it's more competitive than before. And before it was actually more like a 5, but to me now it's like a 6 or a 7. And I think that was actually reflected more in the qualified responses, which I guess makes some sense as I do fall in that group myself. I play in tournaments, I play in the ladder a lot, so they put it at a 6.5, which again, it's like right there, neck and neck with the public response, but before they had it as a bit lower, now they have it as a little higher, but kind of flipping the public perception, if you will. So that's an interesting little trend there. So yeah, they're putting it between a 6 and a 7, which yeah, makes sense. So all in all, people find the metagame pretty competitive, but not super duper competitive. Just like they find it pretty enjoyable, but not the most enjoyable ever. So we're doing satisfactory, a little above average. It's definitely good, but not great, not amazing. We can be doing better, and hopefully with these bans of Cinderace and Magearna, that will lead towards us doing better moving forward. I think the metagame is going to be pretty balanced, but I get to play more than a couple dozen games, so I'm going to get grinding. I am excited. Although I'm recording this, it's Monday night, full disclosure, so by the time it goes up on Wednesday or Thursday, because I'm recording a lot of videos Monday night, it'll probably be a bit different. But yeah, I'm going to get more games in. I'm excited. Let's go. Next up, we have Cinderace. So the public was actually a little bit split on it. When I say a little bit, not like super duper split, just a little. They gave it a 3.468, but you'll notice that first off, the ones, there was a slew of people, and I kind of find it hard to know who to weed out, but there were like, you'll notice every single response. Here, let's go down to Magirna, for example. Every single response actually has, like 26 people gave 1 to Magirna. And, I mean, Magirna. There were some people that just wrote 1 on everything, and that kind of lowered the scores. Like, I feel like if you removed outliers, it probably would have skewed a bit higher. But even then, it's a 3.5, which, for a Pokemon that, A, has been banned previously with a similar survey response, and then it got over 80% support in a suspect, and B, when you look at the 53 qualifiers, is all the way up at 4.2, it's saying something. And I think it's saying this, that when you're using hyper-offensive teams, which a lot of the low to mid ladder is, you're not going to struggle with Cinderace as much. You probably have 2 or 3 Pokemon that outrun it. You might have to fodder a Pokemon to it, but that's really going to be it. It's only going to come in once or twice. But if you're using balanced teams, or if you're using bulky offensive teams in the middle, that you kind of see a lot in tournaments in the higher ladder, the more consistent teams, if you will, you're going to struggle a lot with Cinderace. And then if you go back down to stall, which again is a bit more of a mid to high ladder thing, and a lot of it in like the 1500 to 1800 range, in my opinion, it's going to be hard to actually really lose a lot of Pokemon to Cinderace. So those people might have struggled a bit less with it, qualified people a bit more, and we weren't sure if we should suspect it or quick ban it, so we came to the solution that we're going to quick ban it because the council, everyone but one person, was in favor of it, coupled with the fact that it was well north of 3. The average would be a 2.5, but as you see here, it's clearly tilted 3.5 and 4.2, clearly tilted towards favoring the ban. So, but we're going to retest it. So once the metagame settles, once Magirna well out of the equation, which we knew Magirna had to go, we'll get that in a minute, and once people kind of settle past it, we're going to return Cinderace to the metagame, be it in a couple weeks or a couple months, and see how it does. So we're likely going to retest Cinderace. That's going to give people the best taste of it and see if it's actually broken or not. I feel like doing that in a stable environment actually does it more justice than doing it in a broken environment, because people are just going to have like close memories of it in the Magirna metagame, which was really ridiculous as a metagame as a whole, and likely be more ban happy. But if we're returning it, that kind of gives it the fresh new card type of spell, if you will. I know that's like weird to say, but it gives people a fresh start with it. It gives it a fresh slate. And I think that gives Cinderace the best chance to actually be balanced in the metagame. Coupled with the fact that we had a lot of people in the comment section at the side, which I can't show you guys 1,730 comments, but a lot of people saying, quick ban Cinderace, quick ban Magirna, you guys go too slowly. We need to make the tiering process quicker. So my opinion is the best way to do that is A, we had enough support for a quick ban, so we went forward with that. And B, in the future, once we get some more approval, once we talk about it, we're looking towards 7 or 10 day suspects instead of 14-day suspects. That means that if we have to suspect 2 or 3 things in a couple of months, we can go ahead and do that. We don't have to wait a couple weeks in between and then have a 2-week full suspect followed by a full vote. No, we can get that done in a week and then a weekend afterwards, or a week and then a couple days afterwards where there's a vote. And that makes the process much more smooth. It gives the power to the people still, like the survey, like suspects, but it does it in a bit more of an escalated fashion. It does it in a bit more of a quick fashion. And that's for the best of the metagame, I feel, because things have been moving so fast, and Smogon kind of fell behind the DLC curve, if you will. I feel like we were taken aback by it a little bit. And it showed, especially in lower tiers, I kind of got shafted, but now we're really noticing what we have to do to keep up with the rapid demands of the player base and ever so commonly evolving metagames. And I think it's cool how us as Know Your Council is adapting, first with the surveys, now with a bit more of an aggressive stance towards tiering, being willing to retest things to get the player base's opinion for a second time, and also potentially having quicker suspects moving forward. So I think these are all steps in the right direction. They're things that have been brought up in prior surveys, but also in this one. And I'm spending a lot of time on this in the Cinderace topic of the video in particular, because a lot of people are kind of scratching their head at the Cinderace quick ban. But to me, Cinderace was just as broken as Magirna. And I know I'm in the minority when I say that. I get it. But man, all the counters to it kind of got like abused by it in context, if you will. Future Sight, forget about it with Talk Specs. U-Turn is going to out-damage Regenerator with Slowbro. all of a sudden you're just left with the defensive ground types like Landorus T and Garchomp. You're forced to use them as your stealth rocker on every single team, which is fine until you realize that even Landorus T, if it takes a knockoff from a Kartana, a Toxic from an Excadrill, or just a couple rounds of stealth rock, Power Ball is going to become, it's going to go from a 4-KO to a 3-KO or a 3-KO to a 2-KO. And Cinderace gets in a lot with the right support, and that just makes it crazy. It also kind of makes you wonder, is Boots the problem? Is Teleport the problem? But, I mean, we don't really have the means to suspect those yet, although we will be continuing to patrol them. But, yeah, no, I'm interested to see what people have to say about those. But, yeah, no, we were very happy to get Cinderace out of the metagame. It was clearly too much in our eyes, so that was a step in the right direction. Next up, we had Magirna, which, oh my god, 4.3, 991 people. That's 57.6 voting of 5. Get out of here. Get out. Don't come back. No. Do not pass go. Do not collect 200 Poké Dollars. Do not smile. No, peace. Get out of here. Goodbye. So long. Farewell. Do not see you again. Hit your ass on the way out of the door. Forget about it. Magirna was busted. So many sets. Specs. Oh, forget about it. Oh my god. Volt switching all over my core. Flare Cannon. Brr. No. Bye. Never again. Goodbye. Fuck you. So yeah, we banned Magirna. That kind of summed it up. There are also some other Pokemon that we discussed in the metagame. Toxapex kind of favored the not banning side. Needless to say, by the way, the higher ladder players and tournament players were even more anti-ban. But like this alone, it looks kind of balanced. But overall, the average was in the 2s. It definitely wasn't enough support for an immediate suspect or ban on it. It was a full point and change lower than Cinderace and almost 2 points lower than Magirna. That's substantial on only a 5-point scale. Don't go without saying. Definitely something to keep our eyes on in the future, though. We're definitely going to continue to look into it, but we need more support than this for a suspect or ban. So that's worth noting. Same goes for Tinnitus 2, which receives even less support. Only 35 people put it as a 5. Almost 40% of people put it as a 1, and then another 30% as a 2. So yeah. Personally, I think 2 or 3 kind of valid. I think it's kind of crazy, but it's not like broken yet, if you will. It's getting there. Teleport, kind of similar distribution to Tornadus T, but a bit more. It's kind of between Tornadus T and Toxapex. People are like, yeah, it's kind of cheesy, it's kind of dumb, but it's not like super duper broken, if you will. So it's just kind of an inherent part of the game, like certain other items and abilities that we just have to accept, even if it does give you kind of a weird advantage in some senses. I wouldn't mind looking into it personally, but there's definitely not enough support right now. Only just about 40% gave it a 3 through 5. So yeah, it kind of Toxapex was 24 plus 15. So just like, yeah, it's really, you need more than half the people between 3 and 5, probably closer to 60-70%, which we saw. Look at Magirna. There were only 5% who put it 1 or 2. Look at Cinderace, there's only less than 20% who put it at 1 or 2. So we're talking north of 80% between 3 and 5, but these anywhere from 35 to 50%, it's just not enough. But moving along to something that might be a bit more interesting, Zamazenta C. Now this is cool because we saw some interesting distribution. We saw 34% at 5, but then all of a sudden 1 was the next most common. So there's like a huge gap in perception. People are all over the place. My goodness. Personally, I was a 3 or a 4. I'm fine. 5, by the way. 5 is in favor of giving it another chance. So I'm personally in favor of giving it another chance. Not right now, but give it a week or a month. And maybe let the metagame settle. And then, yeah, sure, give that man a retest. Why the hell not? I think it'd be fun, but damn. Yeah, I think this is enough support to definitely continue monitoring the situation. I mean, 34 plus 15 plus 16. We're talking like 65% that are basically like, okay, let's see it. Or, okay, I'd be okay with it. So why not? I'm okay with it. Darmanitan Galar, on the other hand, unfortunately, there were 19% of people who subscribe to Joey, and then 81% of people who do not. So that's that. But Zygarde, no one wants to see back. I mean, look, 55.2% give it a 1. And if you look at the 53 people who qualified, it's almost like unanimous. Like, do not touch Zygarde, do not touch Darmanitan G. So yeah, those probably aren't going to see the metagame anytime soon. We're a bit more open to Darm G than Zygarde, I guess, but we'll have to wait and see. I'm definitely going to keep an open mind to Darm G because people talk about it all the time. And I respect the people. I'm here for the people more so than myself. I'm not a self-serving dude. So yeah. But anyway, those are the results of the survey. We're going to probably retest Cinderace at some point. I personally want to look at Zumbazan to see. I can't promise it. I haven't talked about the other accounts playing with it too much, but once this metagame settles, we will. Thank you so much to the 1,700 people who responded to this survey, and I hope you all have a great day. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe. It would mean a lot. I'd love to hear your thoughts on the survey in the comments, and I'd love for you guys to subscribe to the channel if you guys are enjoying these videos. It means the world to me. And if you guys want to get more in touch, follow my Twitter or check out the Discord server. Links will be down below. Hope you all have a great day. Okay, bye.